Welcome to Revenza Tales, where betrayal stories and ferocious comebacks ignite your flame. Smash subscribe, ring the bell, and tell friends who battle for justice. Picture one call informing you of a $600,000 debt under your name, connected to the family you believed in. What would you do to reclaim your life? Hold on for a story of deception, toughness, and reclaiming what's yours. My name is Shelby, and I never imagined a phone call could destroy my whole life. It was a still Saturday morning in my tiny Ohio apartment, the type where the world is slow and gentle. I was drinking coffee, the bitter taste lingering, when my phone vibrated on the kitchen counter. The number wasn't stored, no name, no caller ID. I came close to letting it go to voicemail, but something prompted me to answer. "Hello, is this Shelby?" A courteous voice inquired. "This is Daniel from First Ohio Bank, and I am calling regarding your $600,000 mortgage balance." My heart sank. "I'm sorry, what?" I replied, tone harsher than intended. "I don't have a mortgage. You have the wrong person." There was a moment of silence, then Daniel spoke, his tone soothing but authoritative. "Ma'am, this account is in your name, social security number, and birth date. The loan was taken out a few years ago on a Westerville property." Westerville. My heart was racing. That's where my little sister Jada had always wanted to purchase her dream home. A few years before, she'd spent every Sunday dinner browsing Zillow, cooing over large porches and open kitchens. "It's my new beginning," she'd said, shining eyes. "A place for a real family someday." I thought it was just talk. Jada didn't have the credit for a loan like that. But me, I'd always been careful, paid bills on time, kept my credit spotless. I was the dependable one, the fixer. I thanked Daniel and hung up, hands trembling. The apartment was silent, save for the fridge's faint hum. I told myself it was a mistake, a glitch, maybe someone with my name got mixed up. But deep down, a cold truth settled in. Only a few people had my personal details. My full name, social security number, my signature. I'd shared those over the years, helping family with tax forms, medical bills, even co-signing a car loan for Jada when she crashed her old one. I never thought twice. Family helps family, right? I paced my room, cold bare feet on the wood floor. In my bed drawer, I burrowed receipts and birthday letters until I came to it. A letter from First Ohio Bank, still unopened, hidden like junk mail. I'd dismissed it months before, assuming it was a credit card offer. Now, I fumbled as I tore it open. It wasn't trash, a mortgage statement bearing my name, detailing payments I'd never made on a home I'd never lived in. My heart clutched. I dropped onto the bed, the letter folding in my palm. Jada's laughter came to mind, her enthusiasm for that house, her teasing about credit reports. My mother's assurances as well. "We'll get through this, Jada. Family always does." I'd always been the one to get us through. Parents' medical expenses, Jada's doomed boutique, her car loan. I was the reliable one, didn't complain, didn't have dreams because someone had to stay grounded. But that wasn't a favor. This was theft. I gazed at the letter, eyes searing. I needed to phone Jada, yell, ask questions, but something restrained me. Fear, perhaps hope I was mistaken. Raised in our little Ohio town, I'd learned how to be the unobtrusive one. My parents admired my resilience, but it came at a price. Jada received second chances. I received expectations. When I requested a used computer for school, Mom sighed. "We're not made of money, Shelby." But when Jada wrecked her car, Dad shrugged. "That's what insurance is for." I wasn't enraged yet, not completely, but something was changing, like the opening in a crack in a dam. I didn't have a home, didn't have a car loan, kept my life simple and neat and secure. But here I was, sinking in $600,000 of debt that I didn't owe. Someone I trusted had done this, and I had a feeling I knew who. The following days passed in a haze, as if walking through mist. I couldn't concentrate at work, spreadsheets running together into gibberish. That mortgage statement stared at me from my kitchen table, taunting. My apartment, my sanctuary, felt like prison. I needed answers, so I began investigating. I took out all the files, tax returns, insurance, birthday cards my parents had sent me. In a dusty folder, I discovered another letter from First Ohio Bank, last year's date. A mortgage payment reminder I was unaware I had. My hands trembled reading it. How did I overlook this? I'd always been a cautious one, but I'd thrown these letters away, thinking they were spam. Now they were proof. Then I saw something worse. A mortgage agreement in an email from a title company I'd never seen before. I'd glanced at it once, thinking it was an error, but now I opened the PDF. My name, birthday, social security number, and below it, my signature, or something similar. I peered at the screen, the S in Shelby curved too neatly, like someone had done it a few times before. My actual handwriting was unsure, like I was double-checking myself. This was sure neat phony. My gut knotted. I recalled Jada, her voice upbeat, talking about her dream home, a large porch, snug den, room for a family. A couple of years ago, she'd been unemployed, her credit in shambles from her boutique flop. She'd made light of it. Credit reports are just numbers, right? I'd laughed, thinking she was kidding. Now, I wasn't so sure. I recalled assisting her with documents, student loans, auto loans, her apartment rental. I'd given my information without hesitation. Family assisted family, right? At the office, I was a wreck, sitting at my desk, coffee cooling, mind reliving every second I believed Jada. My colleague Megan had noticed. On a lunch break at the deli in front of our Columbus location, she caught me gazing at my sandwich as if it contained the secrets of the universe. "Shelby, are you okay?" she asked, tone gentle but firm. "You look as if you're burdened with the weight of the world." I don't know why I'd said it to her. Maybe because Megan was the only one to ask and mean it. She stood there while I poured it out. The bank call, the forged signature, my suspicion of Jada. Her eyes went wide, but she didn't interrupt me. When I'd finished, she didn't say, "It'll be okay." Instead, she reached for her phone. "You have to speak with someone who understands this," she said, writing down a number. "Tom. He's a financial advisor who has handled fraud cases. He will understand." I called Tom that night. We met at a tiny coffee shop in downtown Columbus, with mismatched chairs and a smell of roasted beans. Tom, mid-50s, had a no-nonsense attitude and a firm handshake. I gave them to him my pile of papers, credit reports, the mortgage agreement, forms I had signed for my parents' medical expenses. He riffled through them, expression unchanging. When he was done, he settled back and regarded me. "You know what this is, don't you?" "I believe so," I breathed. "Fraud. Identity theft," he told me, his voice calm. "Someone stole your identity, and they knew exactly what they were doing." To hear it said out loud made it true. I nodded, throat constricted, the crack in the dam opening, about to spill a flood I was powerless to stem. "I don't want to destroy them," I said. "I just want my life back." "You're not destroying anyone," Tom answered. "You're reclaiming what's yours." He spelled out the steps: pull my credit reports, file a police report, dispute the loan with the bank, build more evidence. "It's not quick," he cautioned. "And it'll alter things with your family. Are you prepared for that?" I thought of my parents' house in Westerville, how Jada always got a free pass for her error. When she quit college, Mom said, "She's discovering her journey." When I made a mistake and missed a bill one time, Dad shouted, "You should know better, Shelby." I'd lived my life as their anchor, but now I was foundering. "I'm prepared," I said to Tom. That evening, I lay awake late, scanning papers in my Columbus apartment. I came across forms I'd co-signed after Dad lost his job, others when Jada needed a vehicle. My signature was plastered all over, applied freely because I was the capable one. Mom used to say it as a badge of pride. "Shelby always makes it work." But now I saw it for what it was. They'd relied on me to bear their load, and I'd let them. No more. A few days afterward, I drove out to my parents' place in Westerville, a folder of proof stuck in my bag. The Ohio suburbs rolled out before me. Neat yards, basketball hoops, children pedaling circles. Their house was unchanged, white shutters, cracked driveway, the whiff of Mom's rose bushes. I hadn't phoned ahead. I didn't want them to pre-prep a cover story. I simply needed the truth. Mom opened the door, smiling. "Shelby, sweetie, I was just taking a casserole out of the oven." She pretended like nothing was amiss, like I wasn't walking around carrying a bomb in my backpack. Inside, the aroma of cheddar and onions filled the air, just like every Sunday supper. Jada was reclining on the couch, scrolling her phone, an empty wine glass next to her. Dad was in his recliner, watching a football game, grunting at the TV. No one glanced my way for too long, Like they knew something but didn't want to confront it. Dinner was subdued initially. We had chicken casserole and green beans, the clinking of forks louder than our polite conversation. Mom talked about her book club. Jada complained about her neighbor's barking dog. I waited, heart racing, face serene. When the plates were removed, I placed my napkin to the side and spoke. "Hey, just wondering," I said, voice level. "Does anyone know anything about a mortgage in my name? On a house in Westerville?" The room came to an instant stop. Jada's fork hovered in midair, Mom's smile froze, Dad coughed, eyes darting to the TV. Silence stretched, a heavy storm cloud. And then finally, Mom said something, her voice gentle, as if speaking to a child. "Oh, Shelby, it's only paperwork." Jada needed a bit of assistance to qualify. "You're not really paying anything. It's family." Jada still didn't look up. "You've got good credit," she grumbled. "I don't. It's not fair if you won't assist." Not fair. The words sting like a blow. I gazed at them, Mom, who had taught me to tie my shoes, Dad, who had referred to me as his steady girl when I had balanced their checkbook at 16. Jada, whom I'd rocked with after her first breakup, assured her that the world would be all right. They smiled, serene, as if signing my name on a $600,000 loan was something I should have come to expect. I'd grown up in this house in this town, always the one who didn't break. When Jada maxed out her credit cards, my parents told me, "She's young, she'll learn." When I worked 2 jobs for college, they told me, "You're so responsible, Shelby." I thought it was love, but now I saw it. They didn't think I could be hurt. They thought I was too strong to crack. "You didn't ask," I said quietly. Eyes on Jada. "You stole my name, my credit, my life, and you didn't even ask." Jada shrugged, still looking at her phone. "It's not a big thing, you're okay." Dad picked up the remote, as if he could silence me. Mom patted my hand. "We're family, Shelby. We do what we have to." I nodded once, slow and controlled. "Thanks for clearing things up." Jada relaxed, thinking it was finished. Mom smiled, as if she'd solved everything. But inside something broke. Not loud, not melodramatic, but finally. I saw them clearly now. They didn't just betray me, they expected me to be okay with it. I'd spent my life carrying their mistakes, but this wasn't a spilled glass of milk or a missed payment. This was my future stolen. I drove home in silence, Ohio fields blurring past, the sunset painting the sky in streaks of orange. I remembered a birthday card Mom had given me years earlier. "To our steady one, you're a rock." I'd kept it, believing that it was love. And now I viewed it as a contract I never signed. They leaned on me because I allowed them to, because I believe that's what family did. But family doesn't steal, doesn't lie. I knew what I had to do by the time I parked in my apartment lot. I wasn't going to shriek or wail, wasn't going to plead with them to come see me. I was going to reclaim what was mine, quietly, the way I'd done everything else, but this time for myself. The next morning, I called Tom. We sat again at the Columbus coffee shop, the air thick with espresso and the ring of cups. I gave him my folder, credit reports, the doctored mortgage agreement, forms bearing my actual signature. Tom's gaze swept through each page, jaw clenched. When he reached the end, he leaned forward. "This is classic identity theft," he said. "You've got enough to bring a case, but it's your family. Are you certain you want to proceed with this?" I remembered my parents' home, Jada's eyes darting away from mine, Mom's voice dropping softer as if she could reason me out of pain. "If I don't," I told him, "they'll do it again." Tom nodded. "Make a police report first, and then send a letter to the bank protesting the loan. Save every piece of paper, every message. This won't be quick, but it's winnable." I spent the next day at the Westerville police station, fluorescent lights humming overhead. The officer, Hayes, a graying man with a tired look, opened my folder and read slowly. His expression became more serious with each page. "You sure about this?" he asked, not in doubt, but cautioning. "Family cases are messy." "I know," I told him. "But I can't let them have my life." He stamped the report, making it official. I felt relief and terror, as if I'd leaped off a cliff and didn't know where I'd land. That afternoon, I headed to the post office, sending a certified letter to First Ohio Bank. Tom had assisted me in writing it. Inside was the police report, official complaint, photocopies of my ID. The postal clerk fed the envelope into a tray, unaware of its significance. To me, it was a line in the sand. I didn't call my family. No texts, no warning. I went dark. For days, I waited, refreshing my email as if it was a job. Work was a blur. I'd smile at clients, run numbers, but my head wasn't there. Megan visited me every day, bringing coffee or a terrible joke to drag me out of my head. "You're doing the right thing," she'd tell me, and I held on to her words like a rope. A week later, the consequences arrived. Mom appeared in my apartment unexpectedly, face clenched with fear and anger. I opened the door but didn't ask her in. "How could you take it to the police?" she growled, advancing closer. "You're destroying this family." I kept my cool, speaking softly. "You used my name, Mom. You stole from me." She flinched, as if I'd slapped her. Jada needed assistance. Family supports each other. "Family asks," I said. "They don't take." "You're selfish," she spat. "Do you have any idea how this appears?" I came close to laughing, but it stuck in my throat. "I didn't sabotage anything. You did." I shut the door, the latch closing softly, more audibly than any fight. That evening, Jada called constantly. 10, perhaps 15 times, her number beeping like a warning I wasn't prepared to acknowledge. Jada's voicemails began angry, then desperate. But I erased them without hearing. I heard enough at that dinner. Her apologies, their rationalizations. The following morning, an email from First Ohio Bank landed in the inbox. "The mortgage loan has been put on hold pending investigation." They apologized, checking notary records and signatures. My credit was still a mess, but a glimmer of hope appeared. I called Tom. "They're taking it seriously," I told him. "They always do when you've got evidence," he said. "You didn't yell. You presented the facts. That's enough." He was right. I hadn't screamed or pleaded. I presented the facts, let them speak. And they did. My family's silence accumulated. No texts, no calls, no Sunday dinner invitations. They did not attempt to repair it. They even missed the old Shelby, the one who would say yes regardless of what. But that Shelby was no more, and I was not sorry. Months went by, and spring invaded Ohio, coloring trees with gentle pinks and greens. My life began to feel like my own again. I'd always paid for things. My parents' bills, Jada's messes, but now I was creating for me. I took a pottery class at the Columbus Community Center. My hands molding clay into mugs and bowls. They weren't perfect, but they were mine. On the weekends, I worked at the local library, shelving books, assisting children in finding stories. It was quiet work, filling me in ways my family never had. My credit was healing. The bank's investigation progressed. Tom kept me informed, additional signatures suspect, the notary in question. I reviewed my credit report every week, the way you look at the weather, waiting for the storm to pass. I didn't trust so easily anymore, but I was becoming trusted by myself. On one sunny morning, I had a booth at a Westerville craft fair. My table was cluttered with pottery. Cups, bowls, small vases, each a piece of me. A woman picked up a mug I'd named Reclaim, uneven with a smooth rim but bumpy base. "Why this name?" she asked, turning it in her hands. I smiled, a little shy. Because it wasn't supposed to be anything, but it became something anyway. She nodded, paid, and walked away. I felt like I'd given away a piece of my story, and it didn't hurt. That night as I was packing up, I saw them, Mom, Dad, Jada, standing at the edge of the parking lot. They weren't near, just standing, like they didn't know if they should go up. Mom held her purse, Jada's mascara smudged, Dad's shirt rumpled, like he hadn't bothered with ironing. I walked towards them, bag draped over my shoulder, no hurry, no fear. Mom went first, voice trembling. "Shelby, we failed, but we're still family." Jada moved closer. "I just need a little help. Don't shut us out." I looked at them, really looked. Mom, who'd called me her rock. Dad, who'd leaned on me during his layoffs. Jada, who I'd protected from every fall. They weren't here for me. They needed me again. I set my bag down, pulled out a manila envelope, inside, a copy of the voided mortgage, stamped in red, and that old birthday card, "To our steady one, our fixer." I gave it to Mom. "I'm not mad anymore," I said, voice quiet but firm. "But I'm not your fixer either. Family doesn't take. Doesn't use. I hope someday you understand what it actually is." Mom's hands trembled as she accepted the envelope. Jada's mouth opened, but I didn't hesitate. I turned and walked back to my booth, steps firm on the sidewalk. The sun set low, shadows stretching across the parking lot. I stopped at the crest of the hill, murmuring to myself, not them. Sometimes to walk away is to say the loudest thing. I didn't glance over my shoulder. The air tasted clean like rain. For the first time, I wasn't wearing anyone else's load. The bank's investigation wrapped up weeks later. The mortgage was nullified, my reputation restored. Tom called to tell me, his voice warm. "You did it, Shelby. Your credit's yours once more." I smiled, sitting in my apartment, sunlight streaming through the window. I'd taken my name, my life, my future back. Not with shouts or tears, but quiet steps. That silence was louder than anything they could have said. Jada faced charges for identity theft, a misdemeanor with a fine she couldn't pay. She sold the Westerville house at a loss, moving to a small apartment, her dreams of a big porch gone. My parents never called again. Their silence was a language of shame, not regret. I learned from Megan they'd sold their home and downsized to a smaller one, their savings depleted by lawyer bills. I didn't feel happy, but justice. A quiet satisfaction that they'd harvested what they'd planted. I continued to build my life. Pottery sessions were my sanctuary, each mug a triumph. In the library, I began a children's book club, seeing their faces light up over books. Megan was my anchor, meeting me for coffee, celebrating my tiny victories. One night, at a craft show, I sold a vase to a man who told me it made him think of perseverance. I laughed, considering the craggy clay, the hours I'd poured into molding it. "That's precisely what it is," I told him. I began saving for my own home, not an inheritance given to me, but one that I'd work for. Sometimes I'd drive through Westerville, by the old rose bushes, the broken driveway. I'd recall the girl who bore everyone's burden, who defined family as saying yes. I'd tell her, "You're free now." And I was free to build, to create, to live for me. The moral of this tale is that betrayal can destroy your trust, but it cannot destroy your strength. Taking back your life is about choosing yourself, even when it's quiet, even when it's tough. Thanks for watching Revenza Tales, where tales of grit and victory take life. Smash that like button, leave your comeback stories in the comments, and subscribe for more epic stories. Share this with friends who need a spark of bravery, and I'll see you in the next story.